everyone. Welcome back to Lucid Raver. I'm your host, Brooke. Today's guest, we have Alana.
Hi.
And today we will be talking about the past couple of music festivals that I did in 2021. Alana actually was able to do a couple of the festivals with me. We didn't get to see each other for certain ones, but the ones that we did, we had a blast. A little background story about my relationship with Alana. It's kind of funny. So I actually met her at Forbidden Kingdom because I stole her Uber. Me, my best friend Harley, and our friend Felix at the time, we were trying to get a Uber to pick us up. And the Uber fees at Forbidden Kingdom the first year were insane. It was $200.
If not more, seriously.
And so we ended up walking 2.5 hours. We were literally the last people in the middle of nowhere in the dark. No cars around us. I saw a blinking light in the middle of like a cow pasture. And I told them, I said, I am not paying. Oh, no, I'm not paying. I am not walking another freaking second. And I'm going to purchase an Uber. I said, we're all throwing in money because the Uber fee was $165 fucking dollars. I said, we're doing it.
Better than 200 some,
But
yeah.
it was only rideshare. So it's only 2 people for rideshare. And we lied and said that we had 2 instead of 3. 30 minutes after trying to get this Uber guy to find us in the middle of nowhere, he ended up picking us up and we all cram into the car, and Alana, and oh my God, what's her name again? Anna. They were in the car and they were just very confused of why there were so many people in there.
And just another backstory, the girl Anna who I was with was someone that I literally met earlier that day because I was at the festival by myself and she was just chilling and came up to me and was just like, hey, want to be friends? Like, I'm here alone. And I was like, okay. And then we ended up leaving together and got in your Uber with you.
And from there on, I just invited her to hang out with me the next day. And it kind of just took off from there. And now we have like 3 years of friendship. We've done multiple music festivals like simultaneously and together at the same time. And it's been a really fun ride.
Yes, for sure. We were definitely meant to cross paths.
Yeah.
It was funny because then we also met Amanda, who's another one of our best friends, the next day. Like,
yeah,
it's just crazy how one festival for 2 days you can meet like friends for a lifetime.
Yeah, I love that. I love how it was just so random and it just worked out perfectly.
Yeah, you were like, sit on our laps, and we were like, okay. And then you were like, me at your Instagram, and I was like, okay. And then the next day you were like, want to come like meet up with us? And I was like, okay.
Why not?
Yeah, literally. Especially because I was there by myself. I was there to just hang out and meet cool people, and that's exactly what I did.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in the rave scene, how many festivals you've done, and what type of raver you are.
Okay, so I am 24, first of all, and turned 25 later this year. And I've been raving for about a decade, give or take. And I started my freshman year of high school, and it was pretty much just the first rave that I went to and I was like, okay, like this is going to be like what I'm doing for like the rest of my life. Like I love the music, like I love the people and like the environment and
you're from
the production.
Philly. You're from Philly, so that scene is like wild.
Yeah, and so there's a big dubstep community there for sure, and just in general, there's a good rave community. And so I grew up doing like Philly warehouse raves that, you know, we'd be in there for X amount of time, just hanging out. Like, and Hijinks definitely, I feel like, has those vibes for sure, even though it's not technically in a warehouse and it's at the convention center. But I felt like the same kind of atmosphere, just like a big room, like not much else in it besides like the setup and like whatever. And
it's just the vibes. It's there for the vibes.
It's literally the vibes are there, and like even the staff and like everything. So
yeah,
the Philly scene definitely was a good place to grow up for sure. But moving to Florida, it's another great rave scene, but it's nice because there's more festivals than there are in Philly. Because I didn't really start going to festivals until I was moved to Florida and started college here, because the only festival that I'd been to was Made in America in Philly, which is a mixed genre festival that I think Jay-Z put together.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so like it's definitely a cool festival, but it's not like
EDM.
an EDM
Yeah.
festival, and it's not as much like the installations, like the art installations and like community vibe as much as it is like the music and the performers and people like wanting to come see that. So still was a great like, you know, place to grow up and everything, but I like being in Florida and being in the festival scene and being able to go to various festivals every year.
So how many festivals have you been to, do you say, if
In
you know?
total, that's honestly a great question. I lost count for sure, but my first festival was EDC Orlando in 2016, I believe, or my first like major EDM festival besides like the Main America thing. And then after that, it kind of just, I went to like not as many as I went to now. I went to another like maybe like 3 or 4 festivals a year, and then now I go to like, you know, like as many as possible, like 7, 8 a year, like if not more if I can. So
You just on that hook.
yeah, I'm trying to do as much as possible, like see as much music as I can. Like
I feel that I honestly was going to all these festivals, but now I've become such a snob that
I feel
I
that.
need more than just the lineup because I've seen everyone under the freaking sun.
Right.
So,
You're like, I need something that's going to captivate my attention a little
and
bit more than just
Hulaween,
that.
the art installations really captivated me. Like
Mm-hmm.
having a festival go above and beyond, not just having a stage and the artist. Because Countdown was such a disaster this year. It was just
Oh, really?
very basic. So
Okay.
I want a festival that
There's more to do than
there's a
just the music and the stage.
yeah,
Which is
or has
understandable.
its special niche, you know.
Right, which Hulaween, the Spirit Lake, is obviously like their main niche, which
Yeah.
is the heart of the festival for sure.
Yeah, and
because no other festival does that. Like, actually has like a lake that they use like, you know, like projectors and like holographic images and lasers and like fire and like X, Y, and Z. So because even in Electric Forest, which I've been to, like, which is an awesome camping festival with amazing art installations, but they don't have a lake that they do stuff like that on, which is true at any other festival. There's no like,
I mean, we don't know all the festivals in the world, so
that's true, but at least the ones that I know of in this country,
Yeah.
there's not, Spirit Lake is like one of its own. It's one of a kind for sure.
I mean, I feel like every festival is one of its kind. In its
There's
own
always
way.
there has to be something that to captivate people enough to want to get them to come, and a lot of the time for
Some
camping
people just want to
festivals,
go to just
that's
go.
true. That's true. Some people will literally go to like anything.
We're like, screw it.
Yeah, but camping festivals usually are a better place for art installations in general. I'd say, at least from my experiences, unless you're going to something like,
Unless
you
you
know,
go
like
to
EDC
Asteria,
Las Vegas,
or you go to
like,
Asteria and it's just a shit show.
and it's I wasn't there for that one, but I heard about it, and yeah.
So on that topic, we're gonna go to talking about the festivals that me and her have gotten to do together this year. So to start off, we're going to talk about Forbidden Kingdom. And with all these festivals, we're going to rate them by venue, by lineup / performances, and the overall atmosphere. And then we're going to give it like a score.
Mm-hmm.
So for Forbidden Kingdom this year, how do you feel about the venue? Because this is the first time that it was at the Central Florida Fairgrounds.
Right, and not at Sunset Cove. So I do love that it's in Orlando. I mean, I'm partially biased because I live there, but I love the Central Florida Fairgrounds. I really do, but I felt like they could have done more with it. Like, it wasn't the venue that was really the problem. It was just that they didn't maybe add in enough other things
Preparation
that they could have.
Yeah.
And just there could have been more like installations and like other things to do besides the 3 stages.
So as a background, Forbidden Kingdom is a all-base festival. It's like a miniature Lost Lands, and
Florida Lost Lands.
Yeah, basically it's been at Sunset Cove in Boca Raton for the past 2 years, which I love that venue. And it switched over to the Central Florida Fairgrounds in the middle of summer. It was before in February at the other venue.
Definitely the timing was not great, which I understand because of COVID and like, you know, they had to like do what they had to do, but June, the mid to late June in Orlando is
It's awful.
It's hard.
I refuse to
it's
do
hot.
any more Florida festivals in the summertime.
Yeah, it's hot.
It's just
humid,
not
It's
fun.
yeah.
And they were so underprepared for that venue. Like they
There
only
wasn't
had
enough shading.
there was only 2 shaded spots, which one was like a pavilion where people were purchasing like clothes.
Right, that was like
and-
the indoor area
Yeah.
with the vendors and stuff.
Yeah, for vendors.
which
And
wasn't
that-
even really like a covering. That was just like the indoor area. They only really had one actual like shade pavilion, which they're definitely, because then there was 2 main stages, and the other main stage, and then that third side stage, there was no covering at all.
There was
and
just
you're
like the
out there
tent
all day
out at the back of that main stage, far back, like as far
and
as
it was
possible.
only one little tent, which
Yeah.
obviously is overcrowded with people that are trying to cool off because it's
People,
hot AF.
people are like overheating, and you're
Especially
getting
people that aren't
sunburned.
from Florida, they're not used to that. And like even me, who's lived in Florida the past, like 5-6 years, like it can still be a lot for even someone like me.
Yeah.
But people who are coming from other states where it doesn't get that hot,
It's dangerous.
Exactly, and especially if like people, if they're not drinking enough water, like they don't eat enough, like even just simple things like that about not taking care of yourself, and then the heat can just exacerbate.
The fact that they
issues.
want to hold it in May again this year, it just like.
Well, I'm glad it's May and not June at least,
But
because it makes a difference. But I still
sunsets
yeah.
during May, and it's still atrocious.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you're dying the whole time,
especially in Tampa. Yeah,
it was also raining for Forbidden Kingdom in certain parts, and I literally missed a couple of sets.
Day we got absolutely soaked. I literally felt like a drenched rat because it rains a lot in Florida, period. And then for me
May.
knowing Orlando, because I live there, it rains a lot. Like,
yeah, I mean,
at that time of the year,
Florida's a bipolar girlfriend.
Spring,
You don't know what's
summer.
gonna happen.
Oh, for sure, especially that time of the year.
Yeah.
Because even this time of the year, it can do whatever. But like in the summer, it's a different story.
I was just so upset because like I really wanted to see that Dion Timmer back-to-back company set.
Yeah,
and it was just pouring
raining.
in and out like. It
like
just,
no one wants to be out there getting soaked, especially when like, you're wearing your nice kitty ears.
It was cold.
Like,
it was cold as fuck too. So
it
like,
did get really
so
cold,
you can get like pneumonia, and I'm not trying to do that.
It went from really hot to then really rainy to then cold.
Yeah, like no, and I don't know. I feel like if we're going to like performances, I was very upset that they put Murata in a afternoon set. Murata,
I agree with that because I didn't get to enjoy it in the way that I would have wanted to, in the way that he deserved to have been able to perform.
He should only do night sets because that's where he will thrive.
Right.
And to put him at 6 o'clock,
it was too hot for me to
so
like, want to
fucking
go in like that.
Yeah,
like his music, I'm like, I want to go
love
in.
Murata, and
yeah,
like him at.
But I'm like, it's so hot. I have to like control myself a little bit.
Him at Forbidden Kingdom, the second year was my favorite set the whole weekend. But I can't say that for the third year of Forbidden Kingdom because it's just like wrong timing.
Set time.
Yeah, like don't do him dirty this year, guys. Don't.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is just like the
setup, like the set times.
And there's like politics within the industry about people getting earlier versus later set times, so like that's a whole other like thing that I don't know that much about. I'm just putting my small amount of insight into that. So some people who might deserve a night spot like might not necessarily get it just because they're not because of the politics situation. So, and a lot of that depends on, I think, the artist managers and the people that work for them and work with them as opposed to the artists themselves. Like, for example, at Sunset, Midnight Tea, we would have expected to have deserved a later night set. And, like people like Kaiwachi and Sullivan King had late night sets, which, not that they don't deserve it, just that we were like, why is Midnight Tea playing at like 4 p.m? Like, and then just from what I knew, that it sounded like him and like his managers, whatever, like don't push as hard for a later set time as maybe other people do. So there's like a lot of stuff like that people like me especially don't necessarily know about just because we don't work in the industry. So it's just little blips and blurbs that I hear through people that do work in the industry and know people that do is interesting and definitely enlightening too.
For performances, how would you rate the performances for Forbidden Kingdom? Like, what was your favorite set, and how did you feel overall with the sets?
And who they'd booked and stuff. I definitely would say it was a solid lineup overall. And favorite set, I think would have to be Nero. That set was absolutely
I
amazing.
missed that.
Yeah, I know. It was absolutely amazing. That was my not first time, but it was my first time seeing Nero since like 2016, and so it was definitely like nostalgic, but like in the right way. And yeah, it was a lot of people went to Excision, so like stage wasn't that packed, and we had room to just like we were right up there, but
Just to chill, yeah.
yeah, but there was like no one around us. We had room to just vibe and dance and shuffle, and yeah, it was great. And the Void set too, I will say that Void set was sick.
when he came up out of like the middle of the crowd,
I know.
he's like,
that was
I was like,
yeah.
Danny, you are a fucking god.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
I literally,
and everyone eats it right up, including me.
He's the number one artist I've seen the most last year. I saw him 6 fucking times, 4 Void sets, like,
and they're all different. They're all great. Like that was actually my first and only Void set was at Forbidden Kingdom.
Honestly,
I'd seen Sudden Death, numerous other times, but not as the Void persona until Forbidden Kingdom, and that was definitely a great set.
That set was actually my least favorite set that I've seen last year for Void sets. Because
really?
I was so far back and the volume was so low.
Oh, that sucks.
That I couldn't really.
That makes because that set was so packed out.
Yeah,
thankfully I was in VIP and I was able. We got really lucky. We got really lucky because there was like some little platforms like on the rails that are divide the VIP and the GA, and there's like little platforms you can stand on, and so I was standing on those, and my short ass, like even in my platforms I can't always see, so like in my platforms on the platform I had a great view, got some great videos, and like I could see everything.
Hell
so
yeah.
It was definitely, and we were close enough too that we could hear it, so like for us with our experience it was great, but I can imagine definitely in GA if you were further in the back not having as great of an experience in terms of being able to hear it and see the stage. And yeah,
honestly, for that whole weekend I really enjoyed Hi I'm Ghost set.
I actually which
that was the third
play?
Small tiny stage, and
okay, yeah,
like
I definitely missed that, but I have heard Hi I'm Ghost goes off, so.
Yeah, he kicks off, and I did like the Subtronics back-to-back Slander until Slander started playing and taking
sad
over.
boy stuff.
I'm not about that, guys. I'm just letting you know now.
I mean, well, at Forbidden Kingdom, it was also kind of like, I was like,
I'm here to break my neck.
Yeah.
Period.
I mean, I like Slander too, don't get me wrong, but definitely, especially it was like ending out
Yeah.
Wasn't it ending out the whole festival?
Yeah, the last night.
Yeah, I felt like it. Yeah, but it was still a great set, and I mean, especially Subtronics obviously like threw down, but in terms of the festival and the timing, I do get it. But I think part of it was they'd been trying to do that back to back for so long before COVID happened, and then it was postponed, and so that's been a set that they'd worked on for a while. So that was the one thing that was pretty cool about it.
Yeah,
that we know that they'd worked on that like all throughout quarantine because they'd been trying to do that
the
back
anticipation
for a while. Yeah, and so I think that definitely was just kind of cool knowing that they put that much time and waited that long to do it.
That, yeah.
Yeah, and it's cool. I like seeing the kind of random back-to-back sometimes because it's a totally unique set that you might never see ever again. Mm-hmm. So it's, I have mixed feelings about back-to-backs sometimes, but because I do love seeing the artists just by themselves doing their thing, but back-to-backs can be awesome.
With the overall atmosphere, how would you rate the crowd, the energy?
I would say it was not quite the same as the previous 2 years because it became a little bit more mainstream. Yeah. Insomniac started partnering with them, which definitely brought in a lot more volume of people and a lot of newer people, which I think just because of COVID too, that a lot of people got into the scene and the music during that time.
Some people are just there to be there.
That's true too,
Yeah.
especially because it's Orlando. You know, there's going to be people that are just showing up trying to party and whatever. But a lot of people told me it was their first festival. That
Yeah,
just
I
random
actually
people
heard
that I
that a lot
talked
that
to.
weekend.
Random
Yeah.
people that I talked to were just like, it's my first festival. Like a lot of people asked me like, oh, it's my first festival. Is VIP worth it? And I was like, yeah, it is. But it's just there was a lot of new people who just really, they didn't know, which
Mhm.
I love. Like, I love that there's a lot of new people coming into the scene and are getting to experience this world. But it does definitely affect the overall atmosphere in a sense, just because,
It's not as blur as I wanted.
right?
And
Because there's people, that are so new that they don't even necessarily know what blur is. Like people don't really trade candy in the same way, or like it's yeah. It's still like it was still a great vibe, and it was not like
it was good vibes, but I'm going to say this for all the festivals that I did last year. The festivals that I've been going to are just not the same anymore. They're
oh for
not.
sure.
It's
Yeah,
the
and I know that
vibes, the
COVID
vibes,
is obviously
yeah,
a major component in that.
the vibes are different. And I feel like a lot of all the festivals I went to last year were half-assed in certain ways.
Right.
There
'Cause
was
they had to, I
certain
think.
aspects about each festival. It just wasn't up to its true potential, and you could feel that in the atmosphere.
And especially for people who'd been to the same festival in years prior, they knew like
Yeah.
what to expect
Yeah.
from that festival, and being disappointed and not being met with those expectations, because I think a lot of us, or hopefully all of us, understand at least to some extent that there's going to be not the same kind of production standards, just
Mhm.
because they had the year or two off of not making money from the pandemic, which is understandable. But you have to, I don't know how to put this, like you have to put money in the right places. So like, if you have to decrease some of the production quality, that's understandable. Like, if you can't do as many lasers, or if you can't have as many fireworks, or like et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
That's understandable,
Yeah.
But some of these festivals, if not a lot of them, drop the ball on some of the basic necessities.
Yeah.
And that's an issue, because then you're putting money into other things and you're not providing the quality of the basic necessities that people are expecting,
Giving a
and
grand
paying
experience.
for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and again, I do get it, but, and I'm not someone that runs festivals, but just in terms of as an attendee, you should really be putting like as much money as you can into the basic necessities. And if you gotta, take here and there with the amount of artists you book, or the amount of production that you have, or whatever, then that's fine. But yeah, definitely it's still disappointing, but I'm just happy to be back at festivals, period.
Yeah,
Like,
but
I am grateful for that, but
it's not the same.
no, it's in a number of reasons it's definitely different, and I'm hoping that maybe that will change this next year, that a lot of these festivals have gotten their year back of revenue, and that maybe
I'm praying
that can make a difference in the quality of the festival that this next coming year. But yeah, so I have high hopes. A lot of these festivals are well run and great, but
we'll see.
COVID
Yeah.
definitely changed things. So it's definitely noticeable for someone that's been in the scene for a while.
So how would you, out of a B C D F, uh, what would you rate it?
For Forbidden Kingdom, I think I would give it probably a B,
A B.
maybe a B minus. Because overall the lineup was great. The production for like the stages and stuff was pretty good overall, especially obviously the amphitheater stage, since that's built into the fairgrounds. But
A lot of people felt like that should have been the main stage instead of the other one.
everyone thought it was the main
Yeah.
stage. I
Yeah.
had texted my friend like, "Oh, come meet us at this set," and he had thought, and I said, we're at the other main stage or whatever, and he thought that
Just
that was the main
confusing.
stage, and
Yeah.
people were like getting confused with that.
Honestly, I give the festival a B minus. I am not in love with that venue for festivals, but like for one stage performances, like events like that, I love it. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think that music festivals should be held there because all of them are always half-assed.
Unless they put more effort or a little more of the installations into it, because I feel like the
Hmm.
Central Florida Fairgrounds has potential for sure. I just feel like it's not.
It's just not.
It needs a little spicing up.
I'm not enthusiastic about it, but okay, on to the next
But
one.
we're also spoiled and been in the scene for,
Yeah,
like
it doesn't
a
meet it
decade.
doesn't
Like,
meet my standards.
yeah, spoiled over here. But we also have enough insight to see the difference. So it's a little bit of both.
So I invited Alana to come to North Coast with me in Chicago, and very last minute, maybe like 2 weeks before it
Yeah,
started,
yeah,
I was
pretty
like,
much.
let's just
It definitely was less than a month for sure.
yeah, I was like, let's just fucking do this, and she's like, okay,
Yeah, I was in school at the time, and I was like, you know what, like,
why
why
not?
not? Literally, especially like what Harley's ticket's gonna go to waste. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, no, I'd rather just
Do it,
buy it.
just fucking
Yeah,
do
yeah.
it.
They have the hotel booked. Like, it just seemed like a no
The
brainer to
move.
me. Yeah.
So North Coast is in Chicago, and it's a mixed genre festival, more house and bass than anything else. And I feel like they did a really good job with that. It was they had like a stadium with one big stage in it, and then outside of there they had three stages with all turfed grass, which was beautiful.
Yeah,
The
the turf grass
festival
made a
was
difference.
super clean. They had this
Mm-hmm.
inside dome, and they had this it was called the Void. It was like a big boxed room that you go in, and you walk in, and literally me and Alana had the most trippy psychedelic experience we've ever had in our fucking lives, because you walk into the room and you are blinded by pure lights, like
And
pink,
fog just everywhere.
yellow, just light, and it's in and out. There's so much fog in the room. She was standing 3 inches away from me. I could barely see her.
Yeah, never mind, like, like a foot or so in front of you. You can't see
You can't
anything.
see
Like,
anything in the whole place, and all you can see is fractal images in the whole air. It was insane. I
and there
tried.
was like some kind of like aromatherapy too. They were
Yeah,
definitely like
yeah.
spraying some kind of aromatherapy because I was like smelling it.
Yeah, there was something going on there. It was the most insane psychedelic experience I ever had in my life.
I've definitely never seen
Anything
any
like that
installation like that at any
ever. It
festival.
was incredible.
Yeah, camping or daytime. I've never seen
Yeah.
anything that was
I
like
hope
that.
that
And
they
just
do
that
that
dome
again.
in general, just having
The peace, it was so peaceful. They
yeah,
had
and just
like
having a
lasers
chill
on the
area
roll,
with the lasers
yeah, on the
and
wall,
inside
and
enclosed
it's just
area.
chilled down too, so you can just like, if you're overheating, you can just chill out. Um, but
Just
yeah,
take a break from everything.
honestly, I really love the venue. There was a little bit problems with sound bleeding. And the other problem was just getting a fucking Uber every fucking night.
Oh
I
yeah.
literally, we struggled
We struggled a little more than anticipated, to say the
because there's
least.
no service at all. So when you try to schedule Uber, it took us 2.5 hours. Oh, and if you wanted to get an Uber that whole weekend, the Uber fees are between $50 and $150 each ride, even for a 20-minute ride. So just be prepared for that. Chicago is expensive.
Yeah,
Do
we
not
we definitely were like rental car next
do
time.
not get in a car with any strangers if they say that you need a ride, because
True.
there's so much trafficking there,
Yeah.
and there are so many sketchy people that were trying to do that to us. So be careful. Only order through those apps, because you do not want to be abducted
And
there.
check the license plates. They give
Yeah.
you the license plate of the car that's picking you up. Make sure to check that
Yeah.
because it seems like you might not need to sometimes, but in a place like Chicago where, and I'm from Philly, so, but I've never seen like cars pulling up to us at the rate that they were being like, need a ride, and like, yeah, I've definitely never seen anything like that in any big city that
Yeah.
I've been in
It's
for
not
sure.
okay. It's definitely not okay.
Yeah, it's something to look out for.
So we talked about the venue, the performances. They had so many good acts going on. Grizz was playing, Rez, Chris Lake. We saw Sunny Federa. We saw
Zed's dead.
Zed's Dead. Who's your other one that you were happy to see for the first time?
The one set that I was really happy with was actually on like the little sidecar stage. It was Stratus, who I was really excited to see because he's not on many lineups, and so seeing him on a festival lineup, I was like,
Hell yeah.
yeah, and his music is great, so I definitely was excited about that one.
All of the Dom Dalla back-to-back Green Velvet
That
secret
was
set.
super lit. The Claude Von Stroke set was lit too because we
Yeah.
didn't even like expect to see that.
Yeah.
But we saw a little bit of Liquid and we were like, let's go over there.
Yeah, let's just go do this. I have to say, the Sunny Federa set. Now we had this plan because I promised my best friend Shelby that I was gonna see Rez with her because I keep skipping to see Rez with her. I was like, I will see Rez with you as long as it doesn't conflict with Sunny Federa because I've never seen him before at a festival.
And he's someone that's not on a lot of lineups.
Yeah,
either.
And so he was going on like 30 minutes before Rez went on, so we would be able to catch like the last like 30 or 20 minutes of Rez, and that was the plan. That we're like, yeah, we'll leave Sunny early, which I didn't want to do.
Yeah, which didn't end up happening.
You're like, yeah, we'll leave that. We'll go see the Trip Dome for a little bit, and then we'll go see the last couple of minutes of Rez. Like, promise.
Yeah, and
we went to go see Sunny, and that was the best house set that I've ever seen in my whole entire existence. It was
absolutely amazing.
It was, the vibes were so on point. There was so much room to just run around. Everyone was just
sun was setting.
Sun was setting. Everyone was just vibing. I've never shuffled my ass off as much as that. It was just like my heart and soul was just like going through that whole festival, and he hit every single drop like it was nothing. I love that. He was old school with new school, and
it just all flowed together perfectly.
Me, Alana, and Megan, it was just us three there, and we're all shufflers, and it was just like heaven for us.
Yeah, we were just vibing out. Literally.
I was just so amazed by that set for the rest of the weekend. It literally changed my life in a lot of different ways, and
there's sets like that are just memorable and stick in a way like that, and I definitely agree that set was one of those.
Yeah,
and it's nice because he's not like gonna be just on every other lineup. It's not like we'll go see him at the next festival. Like
it's hard to like find him.
He's not like someone who's just on every lineup. So
if you guys love house music and shuffling and grooving
and good vibes,
go see Sunny Federa. Just do it. Just trust us.
Yeah, especially if he's on a lineup, take advantage of that.
Yes, 100%. So performances, I enjoyed most of the performances. The Grizz set, I wish it was a little bit better because the sound frequency was all messed up on that stage that day.
I do vaguely remember.
Yeah,
that.
and it just wasn't everything that we needed,
right? Especially for like the amount of people that were there and everything.
Yeah,
I really did like that stadium though.
Yeah,
like, the way that you were able to
sit down
in the stands, but still
enjoy it.
Everything.
Yeah, it was very clever. Overall atmosphere, everyone was so friendly there. Everyone was friendly, like just chill, cool vibes, very plur. More like a northern plur city kind of vibe.
I could feel was more like a northeastern kind of
vibe
for sure.
So I really enjoyed that. And my overall score for North Coast, I give it an A-. If they worked on the Uber situation / Wi-Fi situation better and the sound bleeding with the stages, I'll give it like an A+.
The only other thing that I would mention is that also on that first night, it wasn't really a problem the other two nights, but they like had too many people that were in the main stage.
Oh, yeah, they kicked us out.
We couldn't even go see Cascade, who was like, like the headliner that night.
Yeah.
Because they had too
many people inside
there,
the stadium.
Which just doesn't really make sense to me. Like, did you sell too many tickets? Or like, how did that happen? And then...
And we're paying customers.
Like, what made it okay the other nights? Because there would have been more people, if anything, if not. Yeah.
We're paying customers and we should be allowed in. And then they're like, nope. And we had to sit all of Cascade out just to get an Uber. Like, that's
Right.
so
It
unfair.
was, and it just didn't make sense to me just because then the next day and the day after was, there wasn't an issue with that. And there was the same amount of people, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just a little confusing to me, too. I'm like, yeah, I just didn't fully understand that.
Okay, so the next one is Hulaween. And she was convincing me at North Coast. She goes, Hulaween is my favorite music festival, like hands down,
I've
ever.
talked it up to literally like everyone.
So I was like, this sounds interesting. I really want to
It's
go.
in Florida.
I don't think I can do it with all these festivals I'm already freaking doing. And then I was like, you know what? I can volunteer. So I decided to do the wet workforce exchange team for Hulaween. And basically, I got to work artist hospo for 2 of the days. Actually, had Skrillex look me in the face, which was maybe on cloud nine. Like, I can
I
die
can
now.
imagine,
I can
yeah.
die now accomplished. I don't care.
I mean, Skrillex is Skrillex. What can I say?
But I got to basically get a free ticket and work and also have time off. And I was basically camping by myself, but Alana went with her mom and her best friend Amanda, and they were camping in VIP. So the time that I had off, I would go meet up with them, and we just got into like a lot of shenanigans.
Pretty much. Halloween is the perfect festival to get into shenanigans because it's what everyone's doing.
Honestly, it's my favorite festival to camp at. It goes on forever, but the main center areas are very close. And I feel like you run into a lot of the same people, which I find really fun. And not having to walk too far around is very convenient as
Well,
well.
I will say that if you are camping GA though,
Oh, yeah.
you could be camping like
Very far.
a mile or so away from the main Spirit Lake and the other festival areas, which is why I like to do VIP just because VIP is a more central area and you're not going to be walking like a mile every time you go back to your campsite. And that's not for everyone because I did do GA my second year there and I had a great experience, but part of it was just that I got lucky and I was camped out like behind Spirit Lake.
Oh, good.
And so I didn't have to walk very far. Like it was very easy for me to navigate to and from, and I didn't have to walk like a mile. But some people I did hear did have to do that with GA, which makes sense because that venue does go on forever. It's just the main part of the festival is, in a pretty central location. But in terms of camping, it's out there. People live out there. Did you know that? There's people that literally
live out in the woods.
In Swanee. Like we were walking by because we went to one morning we went when the sunrise was coming up to the Swanee River that's actually in there, which is beautiful. And we walked by a bunch of like little cabins and houses, like super cute. They were all like dressed up for Halloween, obviously, and one of the people that we were with, who's been a Halloween veteran for a number of years, was like, yeah, like there's people that live here, like this is their home, like maybe not forever, they might like live there for X amount of time, but people are living there.
I love that. And
yeah, like I wonder how that works with the festival. Like do they just go
free
into
admission.
the festival for free? Yeah, like I have no idea how that works. Or they stay in their house and stay the fuck away from all of that? Like, I don't know. But I understand wanting to live at Swanee because that venue is absolutely beautiful.
So it's so massive, and you can go into the campsites, and the campsites have their own things going on. Like there's parties everywhere. There's some girl doing like aerial routine in the air with like a full DJ system and tent. Like they had a full trip dome just like chilling in a campsite.
Yeah, and some people will set this stuff up like themselves too.
Yeah,
like,
set up like actual stuff.
Set this stuff up like, for after parties, which is awesome. That's part of all of the fun. Even if you're VIP like us, like to just walk around like after all the main sets are over and just see what everyone's getting up to. And then there's other things like there's an actual park in that venue. Like
they have a park,
adult playground,
but they also have like
a
convenience store and ice cream store. Yep. Like there's like a general store that you can get stuff from. Everything is just very convenient. There's showers, free fucking showers, which I
Yeah.
love that. Um,
And there's real bathrooms even if
yeah,
you're in
real
GA, not
bathrooms.
like everywhere, but it's you have access at points
And
to
you
a
can
real
have that
bathroom if
as
you're GA.
GA for free. Like,
Yeah, it's not like you have to pay extra. It's just because the venue is meant for camping, and so they have those accommodations built into the venue, which is part of why it's so amazing.
with this venue, I have to say this is the best festival I've been to for art installations. They had art installations all over. Every night I found something new. They had a gambling center. They had this
The Frick Frack
church.
Casino.
Yeah, they had like what is that when you roll the ball and stuff? Skee ball. They had skee ball, but with toilets that you threw it in.
Oh yeah. The
There's just
casino is pretty fun. They go to other festivals too. It's called the Frick Frack
yeah,
Casino, and they're
yeah,
at I think they're like
electric.
at Oki, Electric Forest, other camping festivals and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just watched a video of Burning Man, and they're there too as
That
well.
makes sense for sure.
It's the same
It's
guy as
super
well.
fun. It's super fun.
But yeah, having all those art installations, the stages inside of Spirit Lake I enjoyed. The two main stages that were outside I was not thrilled with. They had two stages basically kind of facing each other
In the same field.
in the same field. I don't know, so they could switch over bands because it's a jam band mixed genre festival, so they need time to set up and stuff, which I understand.
So they never had someone playing at the same time, but it was still just a little odd.
Yeah.
And for me, being someone who's been to Hulaween numerous times, that was new. And the patch was the old stage that they had, and they completely got rid of that. And the reason being was so that they could fit in more campers, which I get it. You gotta make your money from the pandemic and stuff, but the patch compared to the Hollows stage was such a downgrade. And people, even like you who hadn't been there before, you could see that from the second you walked in. You're like, how is this gonna work? Like, question mark.
The way that they had that second stage angled, you literally had to put a bunch of people together to see the stage because there was pillars on each side of the stage that were blocking the side. So if you try to watch it from the side, you couldn't see
the stage.
Yeah. So we're being like this for Zed's Dead and LS Dream.
And we actually had VIP, and my mom was with us, and we couldn't even be in the VIP
The VIP
section.
was all the way fucking back there.
And you couldn't hear anything because it was on the side. You couldn't see the stage as well, and you couldn't hear.
Yeah.
And so we're like, we don't have a choice but to go into that crowd. And then we're like, jam-packed in that crowd. My mom was about to be like, OMG.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that wasn't what we had paid for. So it was just like necessities like that we'd paid for, that we were like, if you got to drop the ball on some of the production, which they did, but I understood, like, if you can't have as many lasers or this or that, but yeah, some of the stuff that was dropped the ball on was.
I did enjoy so she snuck me into VIP, which was awesome for Skrillex. And being in VIP for Skrillex, I literally only went to this festival for 3 things. 1, because she told me. 2, for the work experience. And 3, to see Skrillex.
Yeah.
At Hulaween. Like, come on.
Yeah, but I will say that the festival did a good job with that, because that was their main marketing point, was we have Skrillex. And so I think that was part of how they were able to drop the ball on a lot of the other stuff, was because they knew people were going to buy everything out because it was fucking Skrillex. And you know what? That's exactly what happened. But people like us could see beyond that. And I was thankful that we were in VIP and that you were able to get into VIP with us, because that crowd was like a sea of sardines.
Yeah.
And if you're all the way in the back too, you can't hear
see
diddly squat.
No.
So, or see diddly squat.
Yeah.
So we had a great view and everything, but that was only because we were blessed enough to be in VIP. But for everyone else who, were paying GA attendees, they were like,
Sardines.
yeah, because obviously everyone's going to want to come see Skrillex. Like, that's a given. Like, he's like the main person really on the lineup this year. And yeah, I think that was definitely used to their advantage for sure.
I loved Skrillex's performance. The only complaint I have is that they didn't go all out. There was no fireworks, and
I know what that stage is capable
yeah.
of. I've seen.
Did you say Odessa there?
Yes, I saw Odessa as a headliner on that stage. There was fireworks out the wazoo. Like, it was just the production I could see, and my mom said the same thing.
Was just half-assed.
Had been there before too. She'd only been there. That was her second Hulaween, and it was my third. But she said the same thing, that she could see the difference in the quality of the production on that stage, like from a mile away. And it was just definitely, it was disappointing. Was that the biggest letdown of the festival? No, because I understand that a little more, but it was still disappointing for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I still had fun.
Oh my god, it was an amazing set, and we had the best seat in the house, and it was great. But in terms of knowing what that stage is capable of and seeing that not being fulfilled even like 50% is just
upsetting.
Yeah, because some of the other stages, like the Spirit Lake stage, was better than the main stage, and that's that doesn't add up,
So at the Spirit Lake, no, not Spirit Lake stage, in Cyndia, we actually didn't know at the time, because the festival goes on for hours and hours and hours, late at night.
It's literally like all day, all night, 4 days.
We were unknowingly at Skrillex's back-to-back, Chris Lake's back-to-back, Bonobo's back-to-back secret set, and we were just chilling there at 4:00 in the morning. I met you guys at like 3:30. We hung out for like 40 minutes. I was like, I'm going to bed. But I was like, who is this? This is cool. We didn't know. We didn't know at the time. And then the next day, everyone's like, yeah, that back-to-back was awesome. I was like, are you kidding me?
Well, we actually heard, because you went to bed and me and Amanda were fucking off for God knows how long. And so we heard from a couple people after you had gone back to your tent, and they were like, oh, like that back three back, like, and we were like, oh, when did that happen? They were like, on the Incendia stage, like, ended like 5 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago. We were like,
what?
We were like, wait, so what? We were there. That was who was playing.
I love that.
Yeah, that's the great thing about that Incendia stage, is that whoever can show up on there and just, do a secret set or a little random back-to-back that might not even be announced, like, before or during. And they have that at Oki too, the Incendia stage, and I think they have it at other festivals too.
They do like secret back-to-backs and stuff. Like,
yeah,
they're notorious
sets.
For that. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a secret Subtronic set at the Incendia stage at Okeechobee in 2018.
That's
so they
cool.
have like a lot of secret sets like that. Yeah, it's great.
What was I gonna say? So Hula has a lot of like up and coming artists, and they also do like artists that you really wouldn't see. I saw Masego, which was amazing. LPGOBB was really cool. There's just a couple of like artists that I wouldn't have really gone my way to see, but I was put in a position where there wasn't.
You were able to see that.
Yeah. And I'm very grateful to be put in those situations to put myself out of my musical comfort zone,
right?
And
explore different things.
Yeah,
that's what's great about camping festivals, especially something like Hulaween.
I feel like Hula
live music and then EDM that you might not necessarily get to see on on the average lineup. So they have a good variety of music that you don't get to see at other festivals necessarily.
And I really appreciate that about Hula. The overall atmosphere, I just felt so at home, and I felt like a gypsy the whole time.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
At Hula, I've never talked to so many people at a festival as I did at that one. You could just talk.
I'm the same way.
You literally lost your voice.
Yeah, I did. And that doesn't happen to me like usually. Like, I'm not someone who's out there like, like, I just talk to so many people that for 4 days consecutively that
you lost your voice.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's a first for me. So that goes to show. And I mean, I met tons of cool people. I met
Everyone's
two
so
11-year
friendly.
olds
Yeah.
that were some of like the chillest
Just-
people ever, and their mom was super cool. And I think they're going to Okie, and so might see them there if you're watching this. Hey, but
We're there's just it's just like a bunch of hippies and cool people, and versus any other festival,
everyone's
the
there for the
most
right reasons.
it's the most humble festival I've been
Yeah,
to,
yeah, that's a
for
good way to
sure.
explain it.
All my people that I was camping by myself where I was, and I had two different groups of people camping around my tent, and they were so friendly. Both campsites made me like lunch and dinner. It was just so nice.
Everyone's so generous there and just
Yeah.
looks out for each other. Like it's community for sure. Like everyone who's there, like your Hula fam. Like if you're there, then people are gonna help you out.
Yeah.
Which is part of why I was so comfortable going to that festival by myself one year. Like like going to a daytime festival by yourself like is one thing, but a camping festival by yourself is like
Yeah.
that's 4 days you're out there like relying on yourself. But
It's so
the
cool
reason it was
and worth
okay was
it.
because everyone is
It's
so
awesome. Yeah.
generous and helping, and it's not like even if you're there, you drive there alone. You're not there alone. You're with the whole Hula fam.
Yeah.
So
You can
that's
just
that's
connect
what's so great
well.
about it.
So, and your overall score for this hula this year?
For this Hula, only for me, just having been able to see how much they dropped the ball on. Um, Overall, I'd probably have to give it a C, and I hate saying that because it's my favorite festival. And I'm being a little generous giving it a C, to be honest, and that's just because it is my favorite festival. But there was some real issues, like with I'm not going to get into it fully, but there was some issues with
VIP too.
VIP and the amount of knowledge that the staff had. Um, yeah, and I talked to a lot of other veterans that were there, and then a friend of mine who had also been a veteran there, and she said the same thing, that it just really felt like they kind of said, here's Skrillex, and kind of half-assed everything else just based on that, which it's just disappointing because it is my favorite festival. And am I going to say I'm never going to go back? No, I mean, it's my favorite festival and I have hope for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just disappointed with, and I was expecting a little bit of a lesser experience with their year or two off from COVID. Again, that's understandable, but I could see that there was more that could have been done, and less that could have been dropped the ball on, you could say.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to basic necessities, not the other stuff, but yeah.
Since it was my first hula, I'm gonna rate it in two separate things. For art installations, A plus. I loved all the art installations. They were so creative. I always had something to do. I was
Yeah.
entertained.
That's the heart of the festival, and I will say that was what it seemed like they put the most effort into, which I
Yeah.
understand, because
Tons of
Spirit
money.
Lake and that art installations, that is like, the niche of the festival. But that is definitely where they put the most effort into. Which,
Yes, 100%.
understandable, but yeah.
But for production value, I love the vibes too. Vibes A plus, but production value, I give it a B minus. It could have been a lot better.
Right, especially from knowing what to expect from previous years. It's, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So for the last one is EDC Orlando, and before I get into this, I have been to EDC Orlando 8 times, and
I've been 6 times, so a little less, but around the same.
I have to say, after this last experience, I will not be going back to EDC Orlando probably for a very long time. I will be getting into that, but we'll start off with the venue. EDC Orlando's venue keeps adding new stages and stuff,
In areas.
but it's still basically the same size, but they're just kind of managing this.
Rearranging
Yeah.
stuff.
And the attendance is skyrocketed.
Right. They needed. There wasn't enough space.
It's the past couple years it only keeps getting more packed,
And
and
this year was
awful, atrocious.
exponentially more people. I've never seen the traffic in Orlando like that for EDC weekend ever in my entire like time of living in Orlando.
Yeah, and with that being said, EDC Orlando happened 2 weeks after the Travis Scott incident. And I kid you not, the second night that I was trying to leave out one of the gates, I was trying to get to the gate near the um, neon
Garden,
garden,
yeah.
that one over there. And I was hit with a wall of people. And me and my friends were together, and it was, you couldn't get through. And then we started
We had the same problem.
we started getting smothered, and we were in it for like just a couple of minutes, and then
But those couple minutes,
yeah,
it was nerve wracking for sure.
it
Especially just knowing what had happened, just like 2 weeks prior,
yeah,
it was like
scary. That
we were like, is this gonna like happen again? Like,
and being like this with COVID going on, like no,
yeah, no one wants that.
So basically, my friend pulled us out. We went the opposite direction and had to walk around the whole entire music festival just to
Jeez.
get to our freaking car.
Oh God.
So,
But that's how many people were there, like
with the
way more.
with the venue, I do like the new stage installation. I like how it's set up. There's just too many people,
Yeah.
and it's not enjoyable anymore.
Yeah.
It
yeah,
really
literally
isn't.
like we had GA plus bathrooms,
Mm-hmm.
and so we were trying to, for circuit grounds specifically, we were trying to get in a little through the crowd to get to the GA plus bathroom, and I literally like couldn't even get through the crowd to get to the bathroom because there were so many fucking people, and it took me like 15 minutes to get. It took me like literally like 15 minutes one way and like 10-15 minutes the other way to get to and from the bathroom when it should have taken 2 minutes.
Yeah.
There was just so many people that there was just not enough space for people to walk.
It's irresponsible of like how many tickets they're trying to sell for attendance. They're just trying to make money at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's
that's part
not
of what
safe.
sucks is I've seen that with a lot of festivals is that
Forbidden Kingdom,
it's a lot of it is about trying to make the
most
money
sales, and
and cut corners where else you can, which again, like I really do get it with the pandemic, like that fucked up the music industry. I get it, but the sense of greed in the industry and in terms of the festival organizers definitely feels like it's skyrocketed, especially at Easter Orlando. The water situation was ridiculous because if you didn't have like a little pouch or something, we literally brought in an empty water bottle to use at the refill station, and then someone stole it off of the ground, and it was like full, by the way, so it didn't just like roll away, and someone picked it up and walked away, and so then we had nothing to refill with, and so we went to the bar to be like, hey, can we get a bottle of water? And they give us this can of water that looks like a can of beer, and they opened it like as they were giving it to us. I'm like,
are you kidding me?
That's a water. And like I said too out loud, because we got 2 of them, and we were like, okay, we're gonna put one in our pocket or our bag for later so we don't have to go through this again, because we were a little bit inebriated, so to speak, and we didn't want to be doing that in the first place. We tried to avoid that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were opening our waters and our cans of water. And I'm like,
what are you doing?
The guy just heard me say, okay, let's put the second one in our pocket. And then you opened both of them in my face. And I actually heard from another friend that some of the vendors were like trying to like screw with people to like get more money. And my one friend said that he had a vendor who was trying to like, do some finesse
some
shit
shady shit.
Yeah, because they wanted to take advantage of people that were fucked up and to get a bigger tip or to get paid more. And, my friend saw a vendor doing that to him, and he was like, I'm not the one, buddy. Like, I don't know how fucked up you think I am, but like, I see what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of sad to see a lot of the staff that's working there not they're there for the money and they're not there for the safety and everything else of the attendees.
Yeah.
Which is not how it should be or used to be.
With the water cans, they switched over because they didn't want plastic waste of bottle caps. So
Is that what it was?
That's what I was told.
We weren't sure. I wasn't clear on what.
But you told me
But you can reuse a plastic bottle water.
Yeah,
is the thing, but you can't reuse a can.
Yeah, because
I think that's part of the point. It's again,
to make more money,
so that you glug, and then you have to throw it out and get a new one.
So
you can't refill that.
So smart thing was she was telling me this with the cans open, and I was just finishing my beatbox, which is basically it's a water bottle in itself, and I just gave it
because it actually closes, which is ridiculous that you could have an
so
alcoholic beverage that closes and has a cap, but then there's the water bottles
that's a fucking
cans.
Yeah, no,
and it tasted like poopy butthole too. By the way,
yeah.
I'm not even like a super like picky person about when it comes to like the taste of water, but the taste of the water in that can tasted like Mr. Poopy Butthole, and I'm saying that lightly.
It's just not up to par. But
no, and it was not eco-friendly, and it was a bunch of bull bleep to make money.
I gave her my beatbox so then I could refill their water for the rest of the night. Did you actually do that?
So
did you just
honestly, I don't remember, but because then we already had those two huge stupid things of water. Because I made the guy give me another closed one because I was like, "Yo, you heard what I just said?
Yeah.
Like, give me a closed one." Like,
no, bro.
The fuck. So, yeah, there was some shit going on at EDC Orlando, but
so there's a venue, a little bit of those vibes. I mean, you can feel the vibes. I mean, the vibes
were a little off.
Yeah,
the vibes at EDC Orlando are usually great.
Yeah,
because
more like energetic.
Florida.
I have seen through the years like drama and like wax squads. It just this year. I mean, with the pandemic, and I just feel
there was a lot of new people too.
Just feels kind of half-assed.
And there was just some of the people I interacted with.
It was a lot of people's first festival there too.
Fuck?
I had a lot of people first festivals.
Like I just got to tell this one little story. Like there was the weirdest thing. Like this one girl comes up to us, and I was like, genuinely concerned when she said that. She was like, "There's some guy who's like, making me uncomfortable, and I'm trying to get away from him. Can you, like hang out with me so that he goes away?" And so, as a woman, of course, I'm like, yes, like I'll, whatever. But the situation was weird because me and my friend were smoking a joint, and that same girl had first been like, "What is that?" or "Can I hit that?" or like something like on that gist. And then she like whispered in my ear, like, "There's some guy like making me uncomfortable." And so I was like, okay, like, like I'll, like I got you. But then I realized that she had another friend that was like standing like off to the side, and like then after it seemed like they were just trying to like hit our joint, and like then they literally said like, "There's a guy that's making me uncomfortable," like to like hit our joint.
Just
I was like
being shady
because it made no sense because I was trying to help because she made the impression she was by herself. So I was like, okay, I got you. And then she was like, like to her friend, and I was like, wait, you got another friend? And then I looked around, I'm like, where's the uncomfortable guy?
This is that's called some wook shit right there.
That's just like some like that's like sounds like more like crackhead shit. Like I was like,
true crackhead,
what?
but I've had a wook try to get free.
Oh, that's true too. This person didn't even look like a wook. They just looked like someone who
they're just kind of
didn't know what in God's name was going on. Like, yeah.
So lastly about the festival is performances. Honestly, I really liked a lot of the performances, and I have to say the Sudden Death back-to-back Nightmare set
was sick.
One of the best back-to-backs I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Literally.
And
we could tell who was owning the set. Danny was fucking killing it. And
it was a good mix, though. It wasn't like a weird back-to-back.
Actually,
it was definitely something that
they mixed really well together, but Danny was taking a good portion.
You could tell that it was, he was
killing it.
Yeah, but it was the mix of the music they did was great.
For other sets, I really enjoyed Subtronics. He killed it.
Yeah, he did. That
That
was a
was
really
one
good
of my favorite
Subtronic
Subtronics sets I've seen. That and him at EDC Vegas. I feel like Vegas is just a little bit better. But yeah, I really had fun. The Dom Dalla set, it was so packed in there. I wish I was able to shuffle. And
Was
John,
it the
it was
Neon
John,
Garden?
yeah, John Summit into Dom Dalla. It was just so freaking packed. It
There
was a
were just
fun,
too many people.
it was a vibe, but I need freaking room.
Especially when you're trying to dance like that.
Yeah, no, I was just like
you
this.
can't be like, nah. Yeah, when
No.
I'm trying to dance, like
It's just
I feel that.
overcrowded.
Yep.
So, who are your favorite sets?
Jaws was definitely really good on the last day, and I hadn't seen Jaws in years, and so that was definitely a really good set. And who else did I really like? I'm trying to think. Oh, the G Jones set.
G Jones was really
G
good.
Jones
Yeah.
set was one of the best sets I've ever one of the best and most unique sets I have ever seen in my life.
You didn't see him for Lost Lands?
I don't. Yeah, I did, but that stage was
That set
that
surpassed
stage was
for me. That surpassed the EDC set for me. But
for me, it wasn't just because I did not like that Wompy Wood stage this year, and I'm glad that they are updating it this next coming year, and they've made a lot of like commentary about that because I think a lot of people complained.
yeah, they're expanding they're cutting some trees out.
And then the having the VIP all the way over on the right side made no sense because we could hear the main stage. Yeah, it was
the sound bleeds bad.
Yeah, it was really not good. But so for that reason, really alone, I definitely liked G Jones at
EDC better.
Yes, for sure. And I mean, Wompy was also packed out there too because there wasn't like enough space. And
I found more room there than at EDC Orlando for certain.
Really?
I mean, like for certain sets, like
yeah, I guess it does depend on the sets and stuff.
Oh, I forgot to say, Dimension.
That was an amazing set.
Drum and bass. I am a big drum and bass slut. I listen to it every day, nonstop. And to see Dimension once again, I saw him at EDC Vegas. Amazing. I actually left all my friends because no one was gonna go see. Well, you were in the back. And I wanted to go to the front. So
True.
I went by myself to the front, danced my ass off, became friends with these people that were watching my hydration pack, and I just was on cloud 9. Dimension has my fucking heart.
That was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And I like DMB too, but I don't listen to it on as much of a regular basis, but I was thoroughly impressed with that performance for sure.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
Yes. Can't argue with that.
Is there any other sets that you liked or?
In terms of ones that stood out, I saw Louis the Child for the first time. Or at least I didn't see the whole set, but I saw a good chunk of it, and I was really impressed by them. And Armin van Buuren, who I hadn't seen in a number of years, was really good too. So that was fun to definitely see him, especially because Armin was, fun fact, my first rave ever when I was a freshman in high school. And so
that's awesome.
Yeah, so getting to see him again after like so many years was definitely like nostalgic. Yeah. But it was a great set. It was super fun. It was my friend's first time seeing him, so that was fun too.
Aw. So how would you rate the festival?
I think overall I'm between B- and C because the amount of people was definitely the number one not good thing.
Yeah.
And because the stage quality was
decent.
Quite good.
It was good, decent to good depending on certain artists, but
and on the stage too, and on the set because some of the sets on the main stage were too quiet.
Yeah.
So
I only
Circuit Ground sound was definitely better.
I was rarely at the main stage, to be honest.
We were there for here and there,
Shami.
But we were at Circuit Grounds for the most part.
Yeah, same. I would give it a C+ or B- as well, but I'm not going back for quite some time. I'm tired of this, Grandpa. Well, that's too damn bad.
I feel that. We've been doing this too damn long. Like we see like these things that go on that not necessarily everyone would who hadn't been to that festival or haven't been going to festivals for as long.
Yeah. Yeah. So with that being said, those are the festivals that we went to together. We did some other ones, but not together. I mean,
Just met up and
yeah.
whatnot.
But yeah, that's how we rate those festivals, and other people might have different opinions, but our opinions are more important. So
At least for this podcast. I mean, shit, it's your podcast.
yeah. But it was a pleasure having you on.
Thank you. It was a pleasure for you having me.
I'm gonna have her definitely back on other podcast interviews because she has so much
Stories,
information. Yeah,
information, etc.,
yeah.
etc. Yeah.
So
Could, when it comes to festivals and raving, I could talk for hours, days, weeks, maybe years even.
it's just like, I don't know. It's just awesome that she knows a lot and she's had all this experience, and me and her are on the same vibe of like being open to different genres, and I don't know. I like that
Different
about her.
experiences for sure.
And we
'Cause some
appreciate
people are very like, like they're like stay in their one lane. It's like, just
there's more.
music is music. Expand your
Yeah.
lanes. Go into different lanes.
Yeah. But this will be continued hopefully soon. Other than that, I hope you guys had an awesome time listening to us, and stay tuned for next week. Thank you guys.
Bye.